Hello, welcome to Liz Rocks and Stuff. I'm Liz. It's episode 85 of What's in My Tumbler, starting off with Obsidian. So, for those of you that are just joining in, this is a 1 pound chunk of obsidian that I have been tumbling for the most part by itself. It did do a round with some smaller pieces of obsidian before I started tumbling it on its own. So, this is out of stage 4, so this is its final polish. You guys will get to see if can you tumble a 1 pound piece of obsidian in a 3 pound tumbler. So the first thing I'm going to do is get it all rinsed off, and then I'm putting it back in the barrel to do a burnishing cycle. So I'm returning the rock and all of the ceramic media to the barrel. It likes to stick in the rim of that colander, and it drives me nuts. So also, what do you think about this rock towel background? Is it too dark? Do you like it better than the white background? Reveals are going to be done on white still because rocks look better against white, but I was trying to make it a little more interesting for these in-between shots. But that was some borax going in with the water to make this all pretty. So then I'm going to put this on the tumbler to tumble for a few hours. Typically, I like to do about 6 to 8 hours when I'm doing a burnishing cycle. So now I've brought it back in. This is not in the sink. It's back on my counter. But I do have this garden sprayer that I think will work great for rinsing it off when it's just soap. I'm still trying to refine my inside rinsing method, given that I don't really have good access to a sink. And I don't want to carry my camera rig back and forth. So this is me just making sure I'm getting all of the borax out of the media and off of the rock. And so now I am going to dry it off and let you see what it looks like when it's all dry. And it is pretty. It is very, very shiny. I'm so happy with how this turned out. That silver sheen in it is absolutely gorgeous, and I feel like as a solid piece of rock, it looks so good. It did lose a bit of mass in the tumbling. It's obsidian, it's going to do that. But it's my favorite rock now, I think. So I've got some still shots of a couple different angles of it. And so now I have the smaller pieces of obsidian that need to be tumbled now. So what we're going to do is add all of that media back in. With obsidian, I like to start it at stage 2 and do a 50-50 mix of obsidian to ceramic media. I feel like that gives it enough cushion that it's not going to break and it gets a good shine. So I am going to put in a bunch of this obsidian. I have a bunch of it that's all been through stage 2, so it's all ready to go into stage 3 now. And so I'm going to top that up just a little bit more. And this is a mix of different kinds of obsidian. So there's mahogany, there's regular, I think there's a couple pieces of silver sheen, there might be some midnight web. I'm hoping there's some rainbow, but I don't think there is. So we're just going to get this moving into stage 3. So we're going to add some water. It is a little full, but obsidian I think can take a little bit fuller if you've got enough media in there. You just want to make sure it's nice and cushioned. So this is now, instead of a big solid chunk of obsidian, some small pieces of obsidian that are going into stage 3. So these will be done in just a couple of weeks. Moving on to Walk in the Park. Walk in the Park is pigeon blood jasper and flower agate together. This has been going for quite a while. I had a lot of both of these kinds of rocks. So we are going to get these rinsed off. And these are going to get sorted and looked at to see if they're ready to move into stage 2 or if they need more time in stage 1. So I'm going to bring these back to my sorting station. I guess that's what I can call this. It's a multi-purpose area in my office. And then I'm going to be quiet while you guys listen to me sort rocks for a bit. Yeah. All right. So I don't have much to add when I'm sorting rocks, and I know that some people like the sound of the rocks hitting. So I'm going to leave that in a bit. So now I have definitely enough for stage 2, and I have all of my rough has gone through at least 1 week in stage 1. So here's what I did. I put in the stage 2 rocks. I had more than enough. I actually ended up putting those stage 1 rocks in the same bin with that. I'll just retumble all of those when I'm ready to do that. And now we're going to put some water in there with some borax and 3 tablespoons of stage 2 grit. So this is now ready to move on. And I figure it's about that time. So the week between Christmas and New Year's, I shut my tumblers off because I that's just super busy time of year for me. So for those of you that are looking, I will not have a video out that week. So New Year's Day, I won't have a video out. There will be one out on Christmas just because I film these a couple days before they come out. So that it isn't an issue, but there will not be one of these videos out, but I might do like a 2-year retrospective or something like that. There will be a video, but not a what's in my Tumblr video out New Year's Day. Anyway, moving on. This is Smokey and the Bandit. So this is Smokey quartz and rutilated quartz. And so this has only been in stage 2 for a couple weeks. And it is actually looking really good. I love smoky quartz. This is a lighter smoky quartz than I've had in the past, which is fine. But it is looking really good. And that rutilated quartz is so neat looking. If you've never seen it, you might see some bits of it in here. But it looks like it has, like, it's got gold streaks that look to me like straw or hay in it. It's like that color and like kind of that look to it. So it's really interesting. And so that's how this got Smokey and the Bandit, smoky quartz, and then rutilated quartz being the Bandit because it's got the gold. But anyway, I will let you guys listen to sorting again if you like. If I think of something to chime in with, I will do that. So I get the question frequently of what am I looking for when I'm sorting my rocks, and it really depends on the rock. For crushed rocks, I'm looking to see, are they mostly smooth? Because crushed rocks you can tumble them into nothing trying to get cracks and divots out of them. So do I think that I can tumble this enough to get that crack or divot out that I'm seeing? And if I think I can without losing the whole rock or the characteristics that I like in that rock, then I will put it in for another week. If I think it's as smooth as it's going to get while keeping what I like about that rock intact, then I'm going to move it on to stage 2. And just keep in mind that if it has cracks and divots, you're going to want to be, you're going to want to clean it in between stages really well to make sure you're not carrying grit over, because those dents and things can trap grit and they can be hard and they can ruin future batches. So I have sorted all that out, and now I'm going to put the last of the rutilated quartz in there with some water and then some stage 1 grit, and this is going to go for another week. It will probably go for quite a while in stage 1. I mean, quartz shapes up faster than agate, but it can still take a bit. So this is Smokey and the Bandit in stage 1 for, I believe, the second time. And now Purple People Eater. This is red and blue tiger's eye. This is some of my favorite rocks right here. I love the blue, and I love the color that comes out of this. So something to keep in mind, if you aren't aware, tiger's eye does contain asbestos. So as long as you're working with it wet and you're not working with dust, you're fine. I wouldn't worry about inhaling it as long as you're working with it like this. So if I were to dry out this slurry and then try to dispose of it, then I would need to worry about that asbestos, because then it's dry and it comes to a dust form and I can inhale it. So it is important to know what's in the rocks that you're tumbling, especially if you are a person that dries your your slurry out to dispose of it. Some people will put it in a pan and dry it out and throw that away rather than just rinsing it off into the grass. It's an alternative if you don't have access or don't want to kill your grass or whatever. So just be aware of that this rock does have asbestos in it. And thanks to somebody on TikTok who referred a video to me, found out that the shungite I'm going to be eventually making ink out of contains arsenic, as well as lead and cadmium and other heavy metals. So that's good to know, and I will be very careful when handling that. So I've got all that sorted out. Now I'm going to add in some more of the rough. I do have more of this still to go, but this is going to be going back into stage 1. It'll probably have at least 1 or 2 more weeks in stage 1. It shapes up pretty quickly. This was its first week, and you can see that there's a lot that's already ready to go, and that's just because of how it breaks. It breaks pretty linearly, and those kinds of rocks tend to shape up much faster rather than crushed rocks that sort of crumble and break in more jagged ways, just in my experience. So, Purple People Eater going into stage 1 again for a second week. And thanks for watching. Let me know what you think about using that rock background instead of the white for the sorting and whatnot. And I hope to see you back next week. You see him? You can go get on the toilet in the bathroom if you need to see him.